if I see something wrong, but if I remember, oh, they lied, I don't want to go to them. Now, I can't give them the opportunity to help someone else because I don't trust them.
Well, I feel your level of emotion, but I will say this right here is, child pornography is such a nasty stigma. No one knows where. Kids are being abducted, sold into prostitution, they're being molested, beaten down, and all these type of things. And some of the kids don't want it, and some learn or whatever, this, that, and the other. And it's such a beat down thing today that, you can mess the kid up for life. You look at your situation there. That I understand in this case here that they told you a story. I wouldn't even call it a lie to get the truth. I believe that they told you a story to get the truth. And I'm glad that they got the truth from you, because I think that it was your beginning level of healing, you see. I know that you said that no one should judge you and that a crime is a crime. Well, a person running that store there and snatch a loaf of bread because they're hungry is different than a person that go in that bank and shoot 2 tellers and run out with thousands of dollars. You understand me? A crime.
Not really, because it's, in my opinion, it'll always be hypocritical, because in our society we measure.
Sure.
But nowhere in the Bible do you see God measuring sin.
Right.
And I always use the when they were about to stone the prostitute, God had the choice to say, anyone who's have not prostitute, just as long as your sin is not as bad as hers. But he specifically said he's without sin.
Yeah.
So if God is saying I'm not measuring, I don't think we have the right to.
But she was a consensual prostitute. She wasn't somebody that was beat up and thrown into prostitution.
But
if she was some girl that we met and we slapped her, beat her, bang, you're going to be a prostitute. That's different.
But in my...
You understand that? That's what the law was.
Let me say it this way.
Go ahead.
From where I'm coming from, because like I said, I've been through this, and I just don't feel in any way that we should measure the wrong. I believe right is right, wrong is wrong, and anytime you start measuring, that means you're making exceptions. And when you make exceptions for one, then the ones who we think are the worst are going to want them too. And from what I've seen as far as child porn, a lot of it, even though it is wrong, it is wrong. Let me say this, just for the record, it is 125% wrong. But most of them are either taught to do it, and they're not forced, or some of them, because of where they come from, are doing it for the money. Because and it is illegal, and even, because some people think, oh, it's legal in certain countries, but even in the countries where we think it's legal, it's not. And a lot of the parents allow it because that's their money.
But I done a show when I was on Harvest Radio, and I remember about maybe 2 years ago, no longer with Harvest Radio, and there was a situation in Trenton, New Jersey, where I think a 13-year-old girl or something like that sold her stepsister to a gang, and she was about maybe 7 or 8, and the gang went after her because they paid her, whatever. But then I said, the real shame of it is that someone is willing to buy it.
Well,
you understand me? A grown man, to look at a kid and to pounce on a kid. I mean, come on,
because a lot of people don't understand. But I think the real problem is those men who wanted her, chances are were molested, and for whatever reason,
whatever it might have been,
never got the chance to deal with their problems. And even in doing this, I'm hoping it'll help people, because we've gotten to the point to where we're judging everyone. We're not giving them the chance to redeem themselves. And when you don't do that, that's when they do things like this. They teach children how to be in porn. They have sex with younger children, and even the children are, because when I think of I can't think of the show on television where they trick guys into having sex with a young girl, and then they I can't think of the show, but there's I
regular
think on
national
ABC,
TV?
yeah, national TV. They contact the guy and tell him that this is a 13-year-old. They show to the house and his cameras and it's
Oh, he never actually had sex with her.
right.
Right.
They
Okay.
never actually,
Okay.
he never has sex with her, but they sit down and interview this guy and say why.
But he knew she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
they're interviewing. Why would you do this? Why would you?
Yeah,
have, why
of
would
course,
you
of course, yes.
But my thing is, most of those men, that was not their first time contacting a 13-year-old.
Yeah, they got caught. Yes, without a
And
doubt.
so my thing is, well, what about the children who are contacting these adults?
But they
Why are
dealt.
they
But
there?
I understand what you're saying there. But see,
And
that,
how come we're
right,
not dealing with them too?
Right. But that dealt. That dealt should
No, the
should
dealt
know.
definitely.
I remember.
needs to pay
when
for
I
that.
first got on AOL
Okay.
in I think it was '96. I first started learning how to use a computer, and I remember always when I was on AOL. I had some years before, but I was scared of it.
Right.
I had it, and I would look at the computer. I was scared to death of the computer. It scared me to death. I would, So after talk to people, I started trying to learn how to use this thing. And then someone showed me how to use AOL and all this right here. So I'm on AOL looking on something, and this thing would pop up.
Right.
How you doing? I said,
Who is this?
who is it? I'm doing good. Who is this? Oh, this is Pamela. Do I know you?
No.
No. Oh, I don't know you. Oh, okay. Well, where you live? One girl said, I live in Florida. I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, by the way, how old are you?
Right.
Oh, I'm 14. Well, you don't need to be talking to me because I'm a grown man. At that time, I said, I'm a grown damn man.
Right.
You understand?
But
now, what you need to do, she said, oh, I'm just talking. I said, well, what you need to do is get yourself a good education.
Right.
So therefore, one day I won't be going into some little restaurant where you are turning hamburgers for a living. If you can't put your mama on the line, please do not contact me ever again. Now that was before I wouldn't even think of child porn. So you got to be some nerve. So you know what she said? Well, I was just talking to whatever, and that.
But that's how most of them meet up.
Wait a minute. It happened for a few times. I forgot my job. I said, Charlie, what is this? Every time I'm on the computer, some people popping up.
Yeah.
Some young people popping up. You know what he said? He said, oh, man, that's the police. I said, it is?
Some of them are.
This is what he said. He said, that's the police. They're just trying to see, are you, going to go on with this thing, right? And after I checked about 4 or 5, guess what? It never happened again. They never contact me again. You understand me?
Yeah.
After I checked them and said, listen, you need to go talk to a grown-up. I'm a grown man. Don't be contacting me. I ain't got nothing to say to no kid. Put your mama on the line. You know what I mean? But then after that, it never happened again. I've never experienced it again.
Well, it's still happening. I will say that the police can't initiate.
Right.
So if it's initiation, it's not a police, it's a real person.
Well, whatever it
However,
may be,
you
it
don't
never
you
happened.
really don't know who they are,
No.
whether they're 14,
Right.
12, 24.
But I would, what I would do as a practice would ask the question, because I really at the time, I didn't know how to use a computer. I didn't know where these people come from. Look, like they popped up out of the snow. In my mind, it was like they popped up out of the snow, Just AOL. I was just getting, at that time, that's what AOL used to say, welcome, we're AOL, and it was breaking our minds into that. So I didn't know what this thing was. I'm just using it. But I would check each and every one. But what I'm saying is this right here. It's the act. You're grown up.
Yeah.
You got to have a
I
limit.
know that's the thing. That's the problem. I think when we see someone as an adult of their age, we expect them to do A, B, and C.
They should, yes.
If they're just because they're 18 by years, it doesn't mean they're 18 mentally.
But they're legally 18.
And most times you say, well, you're adult, how come you don't know better? Because mentally, emotionally, they're not an adult.
Right.
And so they really don't have the discipline to discipline themselves to, number one, because some of them actually initiate a conversation with younger ones.
You mean
adults.
some
of the adults
with the
initiate,
young age looking for, seeking
initiate,
that. Right,
yes, because
right.
there are chat rooms still at AOL
And
that are created, and they're not named where you can know, but they're named where the people underground know it.
No, those that's into
and
it.
they
though.
make their names where you know about how old they are.
Okay.
And they do initiate conversations with each other. And
Mhm.
sadly enough, there are still adults still meeting with children.
Mhm.
And it's sad because it's like, how can, I'm thinking, even if it's a 13-year-old,
Mhm.
how can someone meet at that, usually at the 13-year-old's house, and there be no one there but the 13-year-old?
Well, that takes a lot
And
of
that's-
braveness for a person, for a strange man or woman
Yes.
today, to go to a 13-year-old house or whatever the case may be. But any teen, if even, I would say even 18, I would be a little foggy with, because that's 18 years old, you know, still thinking that they got the
But I'm saying, as
mindset
far
or
as
whatever.
not the adult not being afraid of the parents, and how come the parent? Where are the parents?
I don't.
Because I don't know how long the relationship will last. But where are the parents that they can have that set of time
Mhm.
with that
Mhm.
child?
Mhm.
And that's what is dear to my heart, is helping parents to start getting real, and to start checking your children and start asking questions. Because a lot of times we go, "Oh, I left you at the nursery. Didn't anyone touch you?" But we don't think about, "Okay, I just left you at your aunt's house.
Mhm.
Did anyone touch you?" And I think as and even those who already gone through this, they're so afraid to talk. And I think if we can start talking more
Mhm.
and really dealing with it, it won't even, I mean, it's not going to go away completely, and it's not going to go away right away. But I think we ignore it too much. I mean, even as simple as where I live, last year I think it was, we saw on the news, because they just built a new Catholic church across from us. And apparently on the news there were some boys, well, they were men now, who were molested. And I haven't heard anything from it.
Mhm.
And it's just simple things like that where we cover up too much that we shouldn't.
Well, maybe people entrust people that's in the cloth and things of that nature, like they do because they feel that it should be secure there, and things of that nature. Because you said something earlier, is that when it came to the police, that you referenced the Bible, that right is right, wrong is wrong, or things of that nature, and some reference to that. But the idea is that we have to understand one thing, that we fall in and out of holiness in any
All the time.
society.
Yes. All the
And
time.
God is only watching us as long as we believe He is.
Right.
Because some people, when they duck out on things, I'm sure they don't think that
He's
God is watching. Because I'm sure that when you would commit
No,
your
I
action,
knew,
did you think God
but
was watching?
I would ignore it completely.
Well, like I
And
said,
that was another
but
reason
if your
why.
car would have fell down into a cliff 2 minutes later or an hour later, you said, "Lord, help me, please
Yeah.
pull me up and get me out of here." Right? You understand? So God come when we want Him to come. You know what I mean? And we turn Him off when we don't. You know what I mean?
That whole period of time, that was my life.
Yeah.
Basically, I would say I was a gold digger. I only wanted him for me, and that was it.
Mhm.
I didn't want to do I wanted him to do what he said he would do, but I didn't want to do what he told me I was
What
supposed
you
to
supposed to do?
Right.
Okay. So now, when would this be inappropriate if I ask you at this time? You can answer if you want to and if you don't want. But since we are in an open conversation today, and you say you want people to heal, do you live with a man at this moment?
No.
When was your last encounter?
The last one was, and I remember it, was October 29th
Of what
of
year?
2011. That was
October.
my last time, yes.
Okay, with a man.
Right.
Was there, at that time, was there penetration?
No, I had stopped that a long time ago because of the pain.
Right.
I just, when I would meet, I would just tell him, I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't do that.
So what was it then?
It was just oral.
Oral sex, okay. Was it you or was it he? Who was giving the oral sex?
It's always back and forth.
So he would do you and you would do him? Okay. So, all right. Well, we end on that right there. And that's not too long ago.
It's not at all. It's not long at all. I have places where, how do I say, long period of time where I stop, and then there are places where I go, okay, I could either do this or tell myself not to, and I choose to do it. Now I'm, what I say, 2 months clean, and I'm now treating this as a real addiction, and I know that the longer I stay clean, the how do I say? The longer I stay clean, the quicker